Maybe you look at me, you're preaching in a public park and casting out demons in a public park. You might say, whoa, you're bold. Where'd you get that boldness? I was not born with this, let me tell you what. If you can believe it, in middle school, I was the shyest person in my class. I thought I was going to be voted most shy, most quiet for the senior year superlatives, literally. And then when I went on to college, there was classes where I would have to make a presentation and speak in front of only 10 people, and I would be paralyzed. I would go brain dead. I could not comfortably speak in front of people. It was my biggest fear, my biggest weakness. So how did I get here now from there? I encountered the power of God. I witnessed demons being cast out of people, and it opened up my eyes to the love of God and his power like never before. It made my eyes open up to, wow, Jesus really does want to free his people of every kind of affliction. He really does. I just saw it, and it opened up my eyes that he wanted to do this for all of his people. Now, this is his love. I received prophetic ministry. A servant of God spoke a prophetic word to my life for the first time, and it made me fall in love with Jesus. It made me see that he was really with me. It made me see his love for me like never before. I then was baptized in the Holy Spirit. It was a servant of God who placed his hand on my head, and I started speaking in tongues. And in that moment right there, I surrendered to God completely. My faith went from like 20% to like 1,000. I was on fire for God. I wanted to be on fire for him my whole life. I wanted to be surrendered, but I couldn't. My eyes weren't open. I didn't really know his love. But because I went to the place where the work of God was taking place, because servants of God in my life chose to be bold so that God could move through them and touch me, I was set on fire for Jesus now. I was surrendered to him now. Other servants of God would preach the word, and it would deliver me from religious lies of the devil, all this condemnation and shame and guilt that I would carry in my life. It was removed because of the power of God through the preaching of the gospel. The work of God is what changed my life. And now I'm at a place where I'm in love with Jesus, and I have a strong faith now that I once yearned for. I'm walking in my calling. I know exactly why God put me on this earth. I'm doing it. I have so much peace. I have so much joy that I didn't know was possible. I have found abundant life in every area because of the power of God that has touched me. The power of God that came through other servants of God. All of these things, all of these eyes opening, all of these encounters, the baptism of the Holy Spirit, the prophetic word, the teaching that delivered me from lies, it all came from God working through vessels. So that is where my boldness comes from, because I want what I have received for you, for every person in this world. I love Jesus so much. I want to please him and touch his heart. I want to be obedient to him. His love is so amazing that I want to only please him. And the only way to please him is to obey him. I know that when I'm standing here being bold, preaching in a public park and casting out demons, I know I'm pleasing him. And that is what's given me this peace and joy, like I can't describe, is knowing that I'm touching God's heart, is knowing that I'm in his will, is knowing that I can kind of thank him a little bit through this, because what he's given me, it's like, how can I thank him enough? So dealing with spiritual warfare, dealing with haters is worth it, because I can't thank Jesus enough. This is the only way to really thank him, is what I'm doing, is being bold for him, is serving him. So when haters come, when it's so difficult, it's such a struggle just to even have church here. When people come and never return again, when people abandon, I push all of that aside. And I think about Jesus. I think about his love for his people. I think about the people out there who really do want to receive from him, but are waiting to have those same encounters that I had had. I focus on those people. I focus on you. I don't know the faces, the names of these people, but I know they're out there. I know there are people out there like me who are waiting for God to move through me. Like how God moved through those other servants of God in my life. I keep my focus there. This is where the boldness comes from. I keep my focus there. I keep my focus on what Jesus wants only. I keep my focus on his people, on his heart for his people. I remind myself of this truth. The only way God can reach his people is through me, is through you, is through vessels. This is the way that God designed it. God made it this way, that he works through vessels. You have to be bold for God to please him. And this is the secret right here. Just have a heart to please God. If you want to know what touches God's heart the most, it's for you to be used by him, which looks like being very bold and standing strong in a lot of persecution and a lot of hate and a lot of people not understanding. Way more of that than encouragement. Way more of that than support. Way more of that than thank yous. But none of that matters. It's not about the praise. It's not about the thank yous from people. It's about what does God want? What does God want?